Hello, my fine feathered friends. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I have a new type of build for you. I have been on a community lock kick. I'm not even gonna lie, I've really enjoyed one, going to them in the game, even though I have to go through loading screens for them, and two, I've really enjoyed actually building them, sitting down and renovating some of the kind of ugly community lots that there are as default in Sims. So, this week for you, not only is this video coming a day early, I know, it is also a two-part. Well, kind of. It's not really a two-part, but I'm doing two builds that are kind of the same thing, but different at the same time. So, what you have before you is New Leaf Park, aptly named after the Animal Crossing game because I happened to be watching my friend stream Animal Crossing as I built this, so New Leaf Park it is. But I decided that I wanted to renovate the park that is in Brindleton Bay. So that park is kind of a mess. It feels like it doesn't fit in with the rest of the area. So I wanted to sit down and try to make something that seemed like it fit in a little bit better with the coastal town and the staging backgrounds that they have and the debug objects that are kind of scattered everywhere in the background. You'll see them in the screenshots later. But that park, I mean, it's just a lot full of the dog and cat training toys. There's nothing that gives any kind of sim an incentive to visit. So I decided that I wanted to go in and make it more of a fall community focused park. I have a little market area where your sims can go in and set up on a selling table or put their paintings up or photography. And I have little activities for all your Sims to do. I built a whole thing with a bathroom, and there's a sitting area and an eating area. So I thought that this would fit in maybe a little bit better with Brindleton Bay as a whole than just what it was before. I felt a little bit dark before. Like, I know that I didn't show the lot in this speed build, but it's got hedges all around the whole thing, and I'm just not a big fan of that. So I decided to come in here and make it more reminiscent of the actual boardwalk and walkway there is in front of the park area. So I matched up the lights. You can see me. I was trying to figure out what they were there. And I put them in, and then the whole area is decorated like it has a walkway around it. I'm coming around to the back to take care of that now. And it's this whole long back end with a lot of lush and green areas, very well kept. And I tried to make the pathways all seem like they fit. So it's split into two sides right now, and you can kind of see that one side is a little bit bigger than the other. And I just did that because the walkway going down the center right there hooks up with the main boardwalk at the front. So I'm just adding in a bunch of hedges. This is the first time I've ever done a community park. I don't know if I've ever built a park in The Sims. I think I've tried before, but it's a little bit difficult to figure out what kind of items to place. I know when it was just base game and a couple of the first expansions, a lot of times the parks were not worth visiting because there weren't enough bathrooms, or there wasn't enough stuff going on that made it worthwhile to visit one. But I think after the introduction of city living with the center areas inside the city where you can sell items and where like the flea market and the festivals pop up, I think the addition of those items really made going to parks worth it in the game. And with my whole save file that I build in, my whole goal with it is to eventually have something new on every single lot, and maybe I'll release it eventually. We'll see how that goes. But I want to upgrade each world so it feels like it fits in a little bit better. Like you can see here that I'm trying to figure out with the fencing how it would flow into the area at the back that's the cat fountain. And I know that I didn't end up actually putting any of the dog or cat training items in this park, but it didn't feel necessary. Their build made it feel like the park was useless if you just moved to Brindleton Bay because you liked how it looked. If you didn't have a pet, or if you just chose not to play with a pet for that family, it felt like it wasn't worth visiting the park because there was nothing to do. And also the bathrooms to the side, which are just the debug bathrooms that Sims can walk into and just have no issue with. I didn't like those. I wanted to build my own, and I had full intent to use the stalls that came with Discover University, but then I discovered that I made the building too small, actually. So you'll watch it go through a few changes, but I like curving the roofs, and you'll see that I've done this in this build and the build that's coming Thursday. I have decided that I really like the way the octagonal roofs look, and that is the style that I went with this. I tried to do like a Cape Cod, Carolinas feel to it. I don't know if that makes any sense, especially to anyone who doesn't live in America, but a very East Coast coastal look instead of West Coast, which would be more boardwalks and more in the style of like Del Sol Valley. So this was very much inspired by trips that I've taken to the Carolinas and beaches that I've been to on the East Coast. And yeah, I actually really am proud of how this bathroom turned out. I really actually like how it ended up looking. I think that it fits in a lot better than the debug item, at least. I also think that it makes this lot worth it to load into if your sim doesn't have a pet but is looking for a stray, just because I noticed when I was taking screenshots later, I used one of the families that had a dog in the Brindleton Bay, and when I loaded it in with them, not only did their dog show up, but a lot of strays auto-populated to the park itself and the area surrounding it. So that was handy. If your sim wants a pet, they can probably find one if you place it here. I didn't put cat or dog hangout in the lot traits, but I mean that's easily fixable. I kind of wanted this lot to be open enough that if you wanted to, you could also place it in Newcrest. I think that it would also fit in fairly well there, even though the aesthetics may be a little bit different towards the end. But I was going towards a fall color palette with this one. Oh, also that's me discovering that I did not pull out the area large enough. I thought that I did, but apparently I did not. So I had to move the steps and pull the patio out a step wider, but I think it looks better in the end, so it's no big deal. Yeah, I did recognize that I used a lot of things from cats and dogs in this build. A good portion of it's from that. A couple things are from City Living seasons. I used a lot in this build. I have yet to do one that is pack limited, though the teen room that I did last week for an Instagram challenge actually only uses like 5 or 6 packs on it. The build going up on Thursday, however, has maybe 20 packs in it. I went a little wild with this build coming on Thursday, so you'll have 2 parks to choose from. And that's the ta-da reveal of the new thing that I'm trying. This one is a casual park, and then on Thursday, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a little glimpse of it, but I did a national park build, and I am very, very, very excited to share that with everybody. That build took a very long time, one of the longest ones that I've done so far, I think. And yeah, this one only took about an hour and a half. This one didn't take too long just because the lot itself isn't very big. So I just it was very formulaic as I was building it. Also, I was very excited to use the new window update. That's the best thing to come in The Sims yet. I really enjoy that free placement. I want to do a modern house that has a bunch of windows in it now. that has like a ton of things layered, and I think it'll be nice that we can finally use windows and transoms on the inside of houses, because that's in a lot of partially older homes, but also partially newer ones that are fancier. I think it'll be interesting to see the difference that we can make with the builds now with those. And yeah, I'm just finishing up the bathroom here. 4 toilets. I do 4 sinks. I push out the front bit a little bit in a second, and there's just a seat inside of it. I kept it fairly simple just because, I mean, there was no real need for me to go all out with any kind of extra pieces inside the bathroom with this one, because it's in a residential area. I didn't feel like I needed to, but you will see how that changes in the national park build that's coming. Yeah, I think at this point I was just trying to decide what kind of style that I wanted to go with, because Brindleton Bay, in my opinion, it's a little bit difficult to style and sit down and look at the way things are in the cats and dogs pack specifically, because the items are so pretty, but they're very specific to Cape Cod, East Coast, that kind of style. And if you're not careful, something can look really out of place from the map view. And I do try to check my builds every time I pull away from the map after I save them and before I upload them to the gallery. But occasionally my builds do show up like sideways and don't quite look right. And I think that's just down to the fact that the map doesn't adjust to what is really the natural like front of the build. When you sit down and build something, I think on some of the lots you think that it's facing in a different direction than it actually is because of the way the in-world pathways look. But yeah, I don't think that some of them actually make sense. Also, I just noticed that I did not finish up that half wall top right there. You can fix that when you download it from the gallery. Sorry about that. I did not realize that I missed that one. Oh, and here I am moving it back because I realized I needed more room. I ran out of room fairly quickly on this park lot, but it wasn't such a big deal because I wanted it to be more of a community center and more of a place that you could visit with your Sims and not, do a bunch of things. Like, this is just a temporary space. I think this would be a good spot to take a Sim on a date, honestly. Not because there's a lot to do, but because there are places for them to sit. Like, there are benches and things that they can sit down, and I put 2 little food stalls that kind of have the same pattern and colors and aesthetics. I have really been all about the aesthetics this month. I'm trying my best to get together a whole build series of like fall and autumn inspired builds, just because I have this grand plan starting in November. I think is when I'm going to have to start it. I may be able to fit them all in December, but I'm not sure. That may be asking too much of myself. But I have a grand plan for the Christmas builds, and I wanted to do something that kind of spans the rest of the half of the year. Well, more like a quarter of the year, but you know what I mean. And I was just trying to make sure that the lights were fine if you were here in the evening. These screenshots at the end are actually in the rain, and that's because as much as I fast forward, it would not go past rain in Brindleton Bay, and I have the same thing in multiple of the saves, and I'm not sure why my game decided that it wanted to rain so much, but I was too lazy to cheat a Sim's handiness skill up and risk them getting electrocuted on the weather machine. Yeah, so sometimes seasons works with you and sometimes it totally doesn't. So here are the food stalls. If you visit here, they will not auto-populate with someone. You'll have to hire someone, but it's a quick money cheat to give yourself 200 simoleons back if you do hire people. And I think it's worth it because then people will go in and actually buy food and sit around and hang out. You can see me here. I am trying to pick out what kind of picnic tables that I want. So I picked these from Cats and Dogs, trying to stay in with the theme of the rest of the world. Accidentally picked up a tree there. I had to double check because I couldn't remember why it wouldn't let me finish the park requirements. And then I realized that some of the benches that I used didn't count. I had no idea that there were specific benches that you had to use in the game. So I picked these from Get Together. Yes, Get Together. And I did them in a green color swatch just because they felt more fall. And like I said, I'm trying to do a bunch of fall and autumn builds. Put in a few chess tables. I think that if you reduced how big the bathrooms were, like only had 2 stalls, you could do a little chess and picnic table area if you wanted to. More in line with like what you would see in an animated short or like a TV show where they have a park that has a designated chess area. But instead I just added the tables to the side. I was also trying to figure out what other kind of skill building items that I could add in. So I've got chess, which is logic. I put in the easels for some art skill. You will see in a second, I think, is when I choose it. Am I going down to it? I don't want to spoil it. I'm scrolling through, and then I'm like, well, maybe I could go down and add in a roller skating rink. Do I click it? No, I don't. I was putting in the kids equipment because I realized that I didn't like how any of them work, so that one just has a random piece of kids equipment to the side. You could delete that, but I needed to make the requirement work. I am decorating right here. I've not gone to the roller skating rink, but I might as well talk about it because I spoiled it. So yeah, I did not intend this when I went in. I was intending, as I was building it, to do a full farmer's market, and I wanted to like put produce on shelves and make it seem like it was fully set up with booths in rows along that empty patch that we're looking at right now. But I realized very, very quickly that there were no tables and shelving systems that made any kind of sense to make a farmer's market out of. So I went back to the drawing board and I was like, okay, what would Sims actually use if they were here? So I saw these from Seasons, and some of them were huge, but then there was this one which felt very much in line with the stone that I used on the bathroom, and I thought that adding a little roller skating rink actually made a lot of sense in this area because it's in like the main boardwalk. If you pan down and look up past where I put the playground equipment, there's a whole area of fake buildings and things that look like just like a coastal boardwalk. So it made sense for me to, or at least I thought it did, to add in a little roller skating rink, and it actually looks really cute in the rain and at night because the lights light up. And I don't think that they auto-populate in Brindleton Bay during the summer and winter. I don't know of any of the world that has enough room to auto-populate the seasons pack. So you can come here and work on your athletic skill, which I thought was nice. Here I am adding a couple of tables that are like fake selling tables. I put a bunch of plants on this one, and then the one behind it that's a folding table, I do some antique books and things. I was just trying to fill out this area a little bit more and give it a little bit more purpose, but there's 4 selling tables and then one of the art stands. I wish we had a cuter version of the art stand, but it is what it is. You can easily come here though and start a yard sale, bring a bunch of things for your Sims inventory. I think that even though this build doesn't have a place to sleep or a shower, that it would still actually be really handy if you were doing a rags to riches that was based inside of a town. Like I said, the Thursday build is a lot different than this, but also very similar because I mean they are both parks. Both of them are very much a park build. So I'm just adding in a bunch of books, throwing them on the ground, how people do. And then I realized that it needed some terrain paint to make it not look like crap. So I'm adding in some terrain paint here just to kind of like where the booths probably stay. I realized I had it turned up way too high, so I was a little bit light-handed on this next round. Just some scattered paving stones everywhere, make it seem like it fit a little bit more. Made it to the entrances and exits of this little skating area. Put in some pathways over here too. I actually think it makes it look a little bit better to have the pathways. It kind of fills it out a little bit more. It's all very manicured. I didn't have this as overgrown because it does feel like it really is like a city park, just a small one. And at this point, I don't know what I'm adding. Oh yeah, some benches on the sides right here. I wanted to put some benches in, and I do a little boot rack, a little shoe rack on both sides to, like shoe rentals. I didn't want to use the one that came with bowling day stuff because it's so stylized, but I think this ended up looking pretty cute. And yeah, most of this is done. I am adding in some umbrellas so it makes it seem like it's a little bit more covered and makes a bit more sense. It fills out the area a little bit more to add some dimension to it. And from there, oh yes, I'm adding in a flower arranging table, so you can work on that skill here. I popped one of these along the side. I don't know what they're called, wind chimes. So I think that those have an aura that you can activate. I don't know if it's like calming or takes away a tense mood, but I think it has one. I was trying to figure out if I could fit some more of the kids' playground stuff in, but I used up all my space pretty quick. If I hadn't put the pathway at the back and the trees at the back, I think I would have had enough room to do a small kids' playground area, but this is a very much... It's not kid friendly, but it's definitely not fantastic. I also didn't put any toddler potties inside the bathroom, I'm just realizing. And I'm not sure if there's trash cans. Wow. I'm just sitting here realizing that I totally forgot half of the things. So maybe I will update the actual save before it goes up on the gallery. Sorry about that. I don't think you actually need most of those items, though maybe you do need a toddler potty. But we're at the end. There's the little build. There's Little New Leaf Park. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you can find me on the gallery. It's linked in the description. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter here. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the screenshots.